Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at issue 4 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, the 4 models that come with it, and then playing a game on the new larger battle mat. Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're bringing you issue 4 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine today. This issue came with 3 Skorpekh Destroyers and 1 Canoptek Plasmacyte models for the Necrons, a pot of Leadbelcher paint, and a new, larger battle mat to play our games on. And if you want to see the new Destroyers and the battle mat, then you can use a timecode in the description or the chapter bars to skip ahead if you want to. But we'll have a look inside the issue first. So first up we have background on Skorpekh Destroyers. The Destroyer cults are a subgroup of Necrons who have gone completely insane in their time in hibernation. They only want to destroy things. Many have had their bodies modified to become lethal killing machines. Skorpekh Destroyers specifically are 3-legged constructs with a variety of deadly melee weapons. It also notes that some Necron nobles don't really trust the Destroyers because they worry that they might be infectious or even that they might turn on the Necrons if they run out of other things to kill. And Canoptek Plasmacyte is a small caretaker creature that goes around repairing the programming of some of the Necrons, but it takes all the corrupted programming and injects it into the Destroyers to make them even more insane. But over the page we've got their battle record, so you can give your new models a name, enhancements they've had, the reason they went insane, and also there's a chart for what the Plasmacyte might inject into them. There's a space here to keep a tally of things they've destroyed, and also a record of what happens to them in battle. Then we have a section about the creation of Space Marines. They essentially take adolescent males and insert a selection of new organs into them, which, if they survive the process, will enhance their bodies so that, to the point of becoming Space Marine super soldiers. Many chapters hold trials to find suitable aspirants to be turned into Space Marines. Also mentions here the apothecaries, who are battlefield surgeons, but they also look after the process of making new Space Marines, and the gene seed, which is each chapter's stock of genetic material that is carefully guarded to make sure it doesn't become corrupt. Then we have some more about the warp, the kind of hellish alternate dimension, which is unfortunately necessary for faster-than-light travel. It's a place where sort of the emotions of living creatures take form. But it's also full of dangerous beings called demons. Demons exist only to devour the souls of the living. There's also a bit about here about the Astronomicon, which is a big psychic beacon projected by the Emperor himself to help navigate through the warp. The Navigators, who are a special group of human mutants who can actually see the currents of the warp with their special third eye. And Blackstone, which is a substance that the Necrons crave because it can be used to negate the energies of the warp. Then we have the build instructions for the Skorpekh Destroyers and Plasmacyte. These are a little bit more fiddly than any of the models we've had so far. They come in a number of pieces, and it does mention all the parts are numbered so you can follow the instructions more easily. And there's a bit more of them. You do have to be pretty careful. There's a rather fiddly bit where you have to basically push a long pin through 2 other pieces and then into the front chest piece. Try not to apply too much pressure on breakable bits. I would actually suggest using a bit of glue to try and lubricate the join as well. It will make it all go together a lot easier. But the Plasmacyte is very easy. It actually only comes in 3 pieces. Then we have another painting guide with using our new Leadbelcher paint. But first we paint the Destroyers, like the other Necrons, with 3 thin coats of Runelord brass. And then apply the Leadbelcher paint to their swords and to part of the base of the Plasmacyte, just for a dark metal look. Also shows us how to apply that paint to the weapons of the Necron Warriors and the Royal Warden. So that those parts are now have a base coat of paint. And also to the Space Marines, you can also paint their guns and the Assault Intercessor's swords and the back of the Lieutenant's shield, and also some of the trinkets on his belt. Because all of these things eventually will be metal coloured, so this is just getting started with that, and it's already starting to make them look a little bit more interesting. But that's it for a look through the issue, so we'll get on to our game now.
So now we can get into our mission for this issue, Destroyers Awakened. So in the background, a Canoptek Plasmacyte has succeeded in awakening a trio of the deadly Skorpekh Destroyers. And now those Destroyers are going to trying to defend the Plasmacyte as it awakens more of their brethren. Meanwhile, the Assault Intercessors have reunited with their Lieutenant and are going to try and head off the Plasmacyte before it can awaken any more of the Destroyers. And you can see we have our new battle mat set up. You have the Skorpekh Destroyers sort of in a line along the centre. So one is at point C, one at point D, and one in the centre of the board. The Canoptek Plasmacyte over on the right in point E. And then the Primaris Lieutenant up at point A. And then the Assault Intercessors, you have one at point B, and then the other 2 are split evenly between that one at the bottom and the Lieutenant. You can see there's also printed terrain on the board, but we'd effectively ignore it for the purposes of this game. We'll get that in later issues, we'll be able to add that to the board. And also this board edge here nearest the Space Marines is called the escape edge. That is used in the objectives for this game. Go over the page now. We have the data sheets for all the units in this issue. You can see the Lieutenant's one has some changes. He has a weapon skill of 2+ and 4 attacks with his Mastercrafted Power Sword. The Assault Intercessors are exactly the same as were in the previous issue. And we have the data sheets for our new units. So the Skorpekh Destroyers have a move of 8, a 3+ weapon skill, 3 wounds, 3 attacks and 3+ save with their hyperphase weapons. Or the Canoptek Plasmacyte also has a move of 8 but only has a weapon skill of 4+ and only 1 wound, 1 attacks and a 4+ save. And it notes that the Space Marines are focusing on melee combat, so they aren't going to use their pistols in this game, so even though the Lieutenant did have a ballistic skill, we're going to pretend he doesn't for the purpose of this game. And just down here it goes over how to make charges, since there's going to be a lot of melee combat in this game, which so you roll 2 dice and you have to roll high enough to cover the distance between the charging unit and the target. And then we have an example playthrough here with the Space Marines. So we have the turn phases, moving, then charging, then fighting. So in the move phase you can advance, move normally or fall back. So officially the Space Marines can do that now. So remember that falling back is if you're in engagement range, so an inch of an enemy unit. You can't move normally or advance, you can only fall back, in which case you have to move so that you're an inch away, so you're out of engagement range. And then you can see in this example the Space Marines are generally moving up, while the Lieutenant is moving across to the middle to try and cover off the Plasmacyte. Melee combat works exactly as it did in the previous issue. We roll the number of attacks the model has and compare it to the weapon skill, and if you roll equal to or over their weapon skill, you get a hit, and then the opponent has to make saves as usual. Although, as it notes, the Destroyers are much tougher than Necron Warriors, so you will have to mark down any wounds they've taken. And then the Necron turn, it proceeds in pretty much exactly the same way, with the exact same phases. The usual advancing, moving and falling back in the move phase. Charging for them works exactly the same way. Fighting works pretty much the same way as well. Though it does note down here that if there are multiple models in engagement range, enemy models, if a model has multiple attacks you can choose to split them between all the available targets. So in this example, this destroyer is splitting its 3 attacks between the Lieutenant and the Assault Intercessor. And how do we actually win the game? So either side can win by wiping out the enemy. The Necrons can also win if the Canoptek Plasmacyte manages to touch the escape board edge. Otherwise, if that dies, they'll obviously have to kill all the Space Marines to win. So we'll set up the board and get right into the game. So here we are with the board set up. We'll have to do the handheld camera because the fixed camera angle is kind of hard to get it all in shot. So we have the 3 Assault Intercessors and the Lieutenant up there at the top, and the 3 Destroyers along the middle, and then the Canoptek Plasmacyte over on the right. And the Space Marines get to go first, so I'm going to go and move all my models and then come back once I've done that. So there I've moved all my Marines. So all the Assault Intercessors are basically just moved forward 6 inches towards the nearest Destroyer, while the Lieutenant has sort of moved towards the middle, trying to head off the Plasmacyte. But then all of my Marines are going to charge, so I'm going to start with this one down here. He needs about a 5 to get in contact with that Destroyer. So rolling 2 dice, he only gets a 3, so that's a failed charge, so he doesn't go anywhere. So I'll do this one in the middle. He's going to try and charge this Destroyer. And he's going to need a 6, and he only gets a 5, so he fails his charge. And then the Assault Intercessor at the top will also try, again going to need about 6. He gets an 8, so at least somebody gets into melee. So I'm going to move him like that towards the board edge. And then the Lieutenant will try and charge as well. He'll actually try and charge the same one. We're going to try and gang up on him. He's going to need a fairly decent roll to get in though, probably something like an 8. 2 is definitely not enough. So now we're into the fight phase where my lone Intercessor in combat gets to fight the Destroyer he's in contact with. He has 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. Not getting any, so not off to a good start with the Space Marines. And we're on to the Necron turn.
Well, I think we're just going to move up and try and engage some of the Space Marines. This one over here is not going to fall back, he's going to stay in melee. We're also going to move the Plasmacyte. So these 2 Destroyers have moved to be just an inch away. They have an 8-inch move, remember, so they can easily get right in front of the Space Marines. And then the Plasmacyte is going to advance because I need to get it off the other board edge. So rolling the dice, we get a 4, added to its move of 8, it can go up to 12. And then the Plasmacyte's going to come this way, trying to stay away from the Lieutenant, really. But then we're on to the charge phase, and we'll start with the Destroyer closest to the camera. So I obviously only need to roll 1 inch, which is obviously possible, but with a 7, I can move a bit. He's going to move there like that, and then the other Destroyer will charge as well. Rolls a 6. Then we'll be on to fighting, and we'll start with the Destroyer at the bottom of the screen, closest to the camera. So the Destroyer has 3 attacks, and they hit on 3s, getting 1.
And Assault Intercessor for 3+ save, which he failed, so that Assault Intercessor down the bottom is on 1 wound.
Then we'll do the middle one. 3 more attacks on 3s, they all hit this time.
3 3+ saves. only failed one, so that one in the middle is down to 1 wound.
And finally we'll do the one at the top who didn't charge this turn, needing 3s again. We've got 2 this time.
And 3s to save. Made one, failed one, so all the assault intercessors are down to 1 wound.
But that's the end of my turn.
And on to the Space Marine turn. So the Lieutenant's going to move to head off the Plasmacyte, just moving down my lines. I could charge him in the charge phase, but if he and that Assault Intercessor fail to kill that Destroyer, he'll have to fall back in my next turn, and if you fall back you can't charge, just like you can't shoot, so I'm going to leave him unengaged for now. But then all of my Assault Intercessors get to fight, so again I'll start with this one down here at the bottom of the screen. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, missed. And then we'll do the one in the middle. 2 attacks on 3s. Well, I got 1 hit.
And the Destroyers have a 3+ save, which it made.
And finally that Assault Intercessor at the top. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2.
And 2 3s to save, made it save both. So on to the Necron turn. The Destroyers will all stay in combat because they're tying up the Space Marines, and the Plasmacyte will advance again. It rolls a 5 this time, so it can go 13 inches. So the Plasmacyte will make it to there, just bending his run around the Destroyer slightly, although I don't think I'm going to be able to escape the Lieutenant, really.
Yeah, he still has to, even though these two are in the melee, he still has to stay an inch away from this Assault Intercessor.
Yeah, so I can't come round the side of the board there. But then, no charges, because all the Destroyers are already in melee and the Plasmacyte advanced, so we will fight with the Destroyers. We'll start with the one over here closest again. 3 attacks on 3s, getting 2.
3+ saves. Oh, failed one, so that Assault Intercessor will die. This man goes down.
Then we'll do the one in the middle. Needing 3s, getting 3 dice. I've got 3 hits this time.
3+ saves. Oh, failed one again. So this Assault Intercessor in the middle dies.
And then the one up here at the top is left. 3 attacks on 3s, getting 1 hit.
3+ save. Made it. So we got 1 Assault Intercessor left. So my turn's going to be very simple. That 1 Assault Intercessor is going to stay in combat, and then the Lieutenant's just going to move so he's an inch away from the Plasmacyte, and then he will charge it. Anything but a 1. Obviously can't roll a 1 on 2 dice, so 6 is definitely enough. So he'll charge around like that, and then he'll attack the Plasmacyte as well. So he has 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 4 hits.
So the Plasmacyte only has 1 wound, so it has to make all of its 4+ saves, which it has not. So that destroys the Plasmacyte, which means the Necrons cannot win by getting it off the board, but we can still try and wipe out the Space Marines.
Yeah, and then my 1 remaining Assault Intercessor can attack that Destroyer as well. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 1.
3+ save. Nope. Takes a wound.
Did a wound.
So that destroys down to 2 wounds, and remember that we like to use the dice to mark how many wounds it has remaining, not how many it's taken, so that means it has 2 wounds left.
Yeah, but that's the end of my turn. On to the Necron turn.
Got a bit of movement. These 2 Destroyers are going to come down here and try and gang up on that Lieutenant, and the one up here is going to stay in melee. So then we'll charge. So the first one, rolls 5, and I'll just roll the second one straight away, because we already know he needs a 1, yeah. They'll just engage the Lieutenant like that, and then we'll do their attacks first. I'll do all 6 of their attacks at the same time, because they're all hitting the same target. So we've got 4 hits total.
3+ save for the Lieutenant. He only failed 1, so he's down to 4 wounds.
And we've still got this Destroyer up here. 3 attacks hitting on 3s, because they've got 2 hits.
3+ save for the Assault Intercessor. Made both. He's still there. So on to my turn. Nobody's going to fall back. We're just going to go straight to the fight phase. I'll do the Lieutenant first. He's going to put all of his attacks on this Destroyer over here with the big sword. The Lieutenant has 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 4 hits.
So 4 3+ saves for that Destroyer. Fail 1, down to 2 wounds.
And then we have the 1 remaining Assault Intercessor. He's got 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 1.
3+ save, made it.
And that's the Space Marine turn. On to the Necron turn.
So there's just going to be a lot of fighting. We'll do the 2 fighting the Lieutenant first again. 6 attacks hitting on 3s, 3 hits.
3+ saves. Failed 1, down to 3 wounds.
And the other Destroyer fighting the Assault Intercessor on 3s, 2.
3+ saves. There you go, he finally succumbs. Last remaining Assault Intercessor is killed. And it's back to the Space Marine turn. The Lieutenant's going to attack the same Destroyer he attacked last time. This one here, that's on 2 wounds. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 4 hits.
4 3+ saves. Oh, we failed 2.
Yeah, so that Destroyer goes down.
Because it only had 2 wounds left.
Yep, but that's it for the Space Marine turn. On to the Necron turn.
So my movement, this Destroyer, who's now unengaged, will move towards the Lieutenant, and he's going to declare a mighty long charge. You're going to need a 10 or so. Now a 7 isn't enough, so he doesn't make it. So he failed his charge, so we've just got the one still in combat, which we will fight. 3 attacks hitting on 3s, we're getting 2 hits.
3+ save, made both. So back to the Space Marines where the Lieutenant will attack the unwounded destroyer that he's engaged with. 4 attacks hitting on 2s. You're only getting 3 this time.
3+ saves. We have made 2, so he takes a wound. So back to my turn. The other destroyers are going to move up 8 inches and declare a charge. We can't fail it. Yeah, 2 should be adequate. Well, 7's good. So both destroyers are now engaged with the Lieutenant. We'll roll them all at once. So 6 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits.
4 3+ saves for the Lieutenant. Failed 1, he's down to 2 wounds. And then in his turn, he'll put all of his attacks on this destroyer down here. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 3.
3+ saves. Oh, failed 2.
Oh, only 1 destroyer remains, but it is the destroyer's go.
So the destroyer has 3 attacks hitting on 3s. It's got 2 hits.
All 3+ saves. Oh, failed both.
Oh.
Oh, so the dream died with the Lieutenant, unfortunately. So that'll be a Necron victory with 1 destroyer remaining. So we've probably got time to set it up again and have another go. So we set up once again with the Space Marines on the left, the Necrons in the middle and on the right, and the Space Marines get to go first, so I'll move all my models and come back once I've done that. So I've moved my Marines up, and you can see something a little bit different. 2 of the Assault Intercessors are moving closest to the one in the middle. We're going to try and gang up on him this time, sort of ignore the one at the top. And this guy down here is going to have to try and distract this one. So I'll do all my charges. I'll start with this one down at the bottom, charging this destroyer also at the bottom. And we know from last time he needs a 5 or a 6, and he gets an 8. That's definitely going to be enough. So he's going to charge like this, so he's kind of reducing the area that the Plasmacyte can go through, sort of funneling it away from the board edge. And then these 2 Assault Intercessors are going to try and charge this destroyer in the middle, so I'll just roll those together. So the Intercessor that's closest to camera gets a 6, the other one gets a 7. So this Intercessor that rolled a 6 is going to move to below the destroyer, while his friend who rolled a 7 is going to move around to the other side, and this sort of leaves a space for the Lieutenant to get in, and the Lieutenant will charge the same destroyer as well. So he's going to need a fairly decent roll, something like an 8. Ooh, an 8. So the Lieutenant will get into contact as well. And I'll start with this one down the bottom, so this Assault Intercessor attacking that destroyer at the bottom. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, missing. Then this fight in the middle, I'll do all the Assault Intercessors first. So you've got 4 attacks between the 2 Assault Intercessors, hitting on 3s, and getting 2.
2 3+ saves. Oh, failed both, so it's down to 1 wound.
Yeah, and I'll roll the attacks for the Lieutenant as well. He has 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 3.
So he has to pass all 3 saves to live, which it failed to do.
So that destroyer is killed, leaving the 3 Space Marines unengaged as we head into the Necron turn.
So this destroyer from the top has moved to here. He's going to try and charge and get an engagement range of all 3 Space Marines to hold them up so that the Plasmacyte can escape. But the Plasmacyte will advance. So it rolls a 3, so it can go 11 inches. So that brings the Plasmacyte to there. We're going to try and sneak through the gap, but then this destroyer will charge. So 2 should be adequate, which is good because that's all I've got. So actually a 2 is not enough to get to this one. He was more than 3 inches away. So by moving here 2 inches, I can engage this Assault Intercessor and the Lieutenant, but that Intercessor is left free, so that's unfortunate. But then we're on to the fight phase. We'll start with the destroyer who charged. He'll put all his attacks on this Assault Intercessor, I think. So 3 attacks hitting on 3, so they all hit.
3 3+ saves. I failed 1, so that Assault Intercessor takes a wound.
And then we'll do the destroyer down the bottom. Also 3 attacks, which only hit once.
3+ saves for that Assault Intercessor. He's okay. On to the Space Marine turn. So all my models are engaged apart from this Assault Intercessor, so he'll just move closer to the Plasmacyte. So he's an inch away, and then he will try to charge it. Anything but 1, which you can't obviously get, so 4 is easy enough. He's now engaged with the Plasmacyte, and I'll do him first since he's the most important one. And he has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting a single hit.
So 4+ save for the Plasmacyte. Oh, it made it save.
Ooh. Then I'll do this Intercessor down here that's alone fighting the destroyer. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting a hit.
So 3+ save, succeeded.
We've got the Assault Intercessor and the Lieutenant fighting the other destroyer. I'll do the Assault Intercessor first. 2 attacks from the Assault Intercessor hitting on 3s, getting 1.
1 save, which I've made.
And then 4 attacks from the Lieutenant hitting on 2s, getting 3.
And 3 saves, a 3+, which I failed 1 of.
So he's down to 2 wins. And with that, we're on to the Necron turn.
And the Plasmacyte is going to fall back. I'm not going to fight that Intercessor. It can't advance when it falls back, so 8 inches move gets it over here. And then we'll have some fighting. We'll start with the destroyer at the bottom again. So 3 attacks, which hit twice.
3+ save, made both.
Just do the other destroyer, he'll attack the Assault Intercessor again. Okay, hit him twice.
3 plus save, made both. So in my turn, everyone who's engaged is going to stay engaged, and that one assault intercessor is going to move so he's alongside the Plasmacyte, and then he will charge it. I'm going to show the roll just to see how much distance I can go. 6 inches, that's easy enough to get him to where I want him to be. So he's going to charge and then go in front of it, essentially, between it and the board edge. And then I'll start the fight phase with him as well, since he is more important than the others. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 1 again.
Need to pass my 4 plus save. Oh, I did.
Oh, then we'll do the one-on-one combat down at the bottom. 2 attacks on 3s with the assault intercessor, getting a single hit.
3 plus the save. Made it.
And then the fight here in the middle, and I'll start with the wounded assault intercessor again. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits this time. 2s,
3 plus saves. Failed 1.
Oh, down to 1 wound on that destroyer. Can the lieutenant finish it off with 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting a single hit?
3 plus save, which I failed.
Yeah, so that destroyer is going to die. So only 1 destroyer remaining. But the Plasmacyte is still in play, but so you can still get off the board. The Space Marines probably only have 1 more turn to kill it as we head into the Necron turn.
So the only movement with the Plasmacyte falling back again, but it hasn't got enough movement to get to the board edge. So the Space Marines will still have another turn to kill it, and then we'll do the destroyer over fighting the assault intercessor. 3 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 1.
3 plus save, he's okay. So in the Space Marine turn, the assault intercessor that's been chasing after the Plasmacyte is going to continue to do so, while the lieutenant and the wounded intercessor that were fighting in the middle are going to move towards the Plasmacyte. And they're all going to try and charge Plasmacytes, but I'll start with this one who's closest. He rolls a 7, that's easy enough. So he's going to go around like that, and then the lieutenant and the other assault intercessor will also charge, so I'll roll them both together. The lieutenant needs a 6, while the assault intercessor needs an 8. So the lieutenant only gets a 4, the assault intercessor gets a 6, so they're not going to make it. So it's going to be down to the wire. This assault intercessor is going to help to kill this Plasmacyte. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits this time.
2 4 plus saves. Oh, double 1.
Finally the Plasmacyte is killed, and then this assault intercessor who's been fighting that destroyer for the entire game is going to continue trying to kill it. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, he gets 2 hits.
3 plus save. Oh, made both. So on to my turn, and we're just going to have to try and kill all the Space Marines, so do this destroyer fighting. Needing 3s, getting 1.
3 plus save, I made it. So in the Space Marine turn, everyone's going to descend upon this one destroyer, so the lieutenant and the unwounded intercessor are going to move up towards him, while the wounded intercessor is going to have to start going around because there's not going to be enough space for all of them to fight on this side. So we'll do their charges. I'll start with this one who's furthest away. He gets an 11, that's definitely going to be enough. I'll roll for the lieutenant as well, he can't fail, but he gets to go 10 inches. And then the wounded intercessor, he gets a 5. So all of the Marines are going to gang up on the 1 remaining destroyer. I'll roll for all the assault intercessors first. We have 6 attacks between them, hitting on 3s, only getting 2.
So 2 saves. Failed 1, down to 2 wounds.
Yeah, and then we've got 4 attacks from the lieutenant, hitting on 2s, getting 3.
3 plus saves. Failed 1, down to 1 wound.
So the destroyer has 1 wound remaining, but it's his turn to fight back.
And we'll put 2 attacks on the wounded one and 1 on this one here. So 2 attacks on the wounded intercessor, both hit with 3s.
3 plus saves. Oh, he failed, so he is killed. But you got 1 attack on the remaining.
Which hit?
Yes, the intercessor he's been fighting the entire game. Oh, he failed his save as well. This intercessor is killed, and this one is down to 1 wound. But then it's the Space Marines' turn where they get to fight back, and I'll do the assault intercessors first again, see if they can avenge their fallen brother. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 3.
Need to pass my saves. Oh, 6.
Oof. And then we've got 4 attacks from the lieutenant hitting on 2s, getting 3 as well.
Can I make another 3 saves? Yes.
Oh, back to the destroyer.
Well, we'll do 2 attacks on the wounded intercessor again and 1 on the other unwounded one. So 2 on the wounded, they both hit.
3 plus saves. Oh, failed 1, so he's killed.
And on the, we missed the other one.
So the destroyer is finally able to kill this intercessor. So on their turn to fight back, I'll do the assault intercessor first. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, 2 hits.
2 3 plus saves, made them both.
4 attacks from the lieutenant hitting on 2s. I'll roll that, it was cocked. He's 3 hits.
3 3 plus saves. Oh, there we go, it goes down at last.
So the remaining destroyer is killed, and that is a Space Marine victory. So we'll set up for one more game, we'll do a best of 3. So we reset the board, and we'll do another game with the Space Marines going first. Well, ganging up on one destroyer seemed to work fairly well, so I'm going to try and do that again, where the Assault Intercessor's in the middle and the Lieutenant beelining for that destroyer in the middle, while this Brave Intercessor here is going to try and hold up this destroyer again for the entire game. So I'll do charges. I'll start with this one down at the bottom. So once again he needs a 5 or a 6, he gets an 8, which he'll move to block the middle again, like he did last time. And then these two Assault Intercessors charging this destroyer here. They're both going to need a 5, so I'll roll for the first one. He gets a 10, and the other one, oh, and he gets a 2, so only one of them makes it into combat this time. So this one's going to move to block in the middle again. And then the Lieutenant will try and charge the same destroyer as well. Once again, you're going to need a fairly good roll. So last time he needed an 8. See if he can do that again. He gets a 9. So he's going to go and be opposite the Assault Intercessor. But I'll start the fight phase down with this lone Intercessor down the bottom. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting a single hit.
3 plus save. Oh, failed one.
Oh, down to 2 wounds already. And then in the middle I'll start with the Assault Intercessor as well. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits.
2 saves, passed both.
And then the Lieutenant has 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 4.
4 saves, passed 3, so down to 2 wounds.
And with that we're on to the Necron turn.
So I need to tie up this Intercessor, so the unengaged destroyer has gone after him, and Plasmacyte advanced. We didn't show it on camera, but he rolled a 5, so he gets to there. And then to the charge phase, the destroyer here will charge. Needs a 1, but I'd quite like to get round the other side, yeah, 7. So we'll come round this side of the Intercessor just to try and block him off a little bit. And then fighting, we'll start at the bottom of the screen again. 3 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 1.
3 plus save for that Assault Intercessor, he's okay.
The one in the middle will attack the Assault Intercessor that he's fighting. Needing 3s, we've got 2.
Needing 3s to save, made both.
And then the last destroyer who charged, needing 3s, getting 2.
3 plus saves, made 1, failed 1. That Assault Intercessor is down to 1 wound. So in the Space Marine turn, this Assault Intercessor is going to fall back from that destroyer to try and start heading off the Plasmacyte. Everyone else will remain engaged, so I'll start the fight phase with this combat down here at the bottom of the screen as usual. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting a single hit.
3 plus save, that one's made.
I'll do this one next, the wounded Assault Intercessor fighting the destroyer. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting a single hit as well.
3 plus save, failed.
And finally the Lieutenant fighting the destroyer in the middle with the big sword. 4 attacks hitting on 2s, getting 3.
3 plus saves, down to 1 wound.
Back around to the Necron turn.
And the Plasmacyte will advance again. So it could do with a big roll. The 4 is okay, 12 inches. So we're going to run straight past the Assault Intercessor, but he will be able to have a go at him in the Space Marine turn. And everyone else is going to stay in melee, so we'll do the fight phase, starting down here again. 3 attacks on 3s. Oh, 3 hits.
3 plus saves. All failed 1, so that Assault Intercessor takes a wound.
Then we'll do the one in the middle fighting the Lieutenant. 3 attacks on 3s, getting 1 hit.
3 plus save. Failed, so the Lieutenant is down to 4 wounds.
And then we've just got the 1 destroyer left. 3 attacks on 3s, getting 1.
3 plus save. Made it, so that Assault Intercessor survives. Well, in the Space Marine turn, everyone's going to stay engaged, apart from this Assault Intercessor who's going to move up. So he's alongside the Plasmacyte, and then he will charge it. Again, going to roll, just make sure I don't get a 2 or something like that. Or a 4, but that's still enough to get around in the way. So he will get in its way, and I'll start the fight phase off with him, since he's by far the most important combat. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s. All 2 hits.
4 plus saves. Oh, failed 1.
Ooh.
So we're going to have to try and win the hard way again.
And I'll start off the remaining combats with this Assault Intercessor fighting this destroyer down the bottom. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting a single hit.
3 plus save. Oh, failed. Down to 1 wound.
Yeah, destroyer's down to 1 wound as well. They'll do the other Assault Intercessor. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2.
3 plus saves. Failed 1.
And then we've finally got the Lieutenant. 4 attacks hitting on 2 from the Lieutenant, getting 4.
Got to pass all 4 saves. No, failed 2 of them.
So that destroyer in the middle goes down. But we're on to the Necron turn, where they got a chance for revenge.
Well, we'll just do the destroyer at the bottom first then. 3 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2.
2 3 plus saves, made both.
Now we'll just do the other destroyer quickly, fighting the Assault Intercessor. Oh, he's only got 1 hit.
3 plus save, he only has 1 wound left, but that's a 1, so that Assault Intercessor is killed. So this Intercessor dies, but this one remains alive as we head back into the Space Marine turn. So for my movement, the other unengaged Assault Intercessor and the Lieutenant are going to move towards that destroyer that's now unengaged. They're going to try and avenge their fallen brother. So for my charges, I'll start with this Assault Intercessor. He gets a 9, that's easy enough. I'll roll the lieutenant as well since he's charging the same target. Or 12. They'll both move in to engage that destroyer. And I'll roll for them now. I'll do the assault intercessor first. 2 attacks hitting on 3s. Oh, he missed. But then the lieutenant, can he finish it off? 4 attacks hitting on 2s. Getting 3.
3 saves. Yeah, I failed one.
So that destroyer is brought down. And now we have this fight down here at the bottom of the mat. 2 attacks hitting on 3s. 2 hits.
2 saves. Made both.
Ooh.
So the Necrons get another turn. We'll obviously fight that assault intercessor. 3 attacks on 3s. We've got 2 hits.
3 plus saves. All made both again. So all the Space Marines are going to gang up on this one remaining destroyer. So the lieutenant and the other assault intercessor move closer. I roll the charges for the 2 unengaged Marines together. So for the assault intercessor, he gets a 6. That's easily enough. And the lieutenant, yeah, they're both in. So they can all gang up on the destroyer like that. And I'll roll for the assault intercessors first. 4 attacks between them, hitting on 3s, getting 3.
3 plus saves. They all made all of them.
And then we got 4 attacks from the lieutenant, hitting on 2s, getting 4.
4 3 plus saves. Made all of them. So improbably the destroyer is still alive. We're going to put 2 attacks on the wounded intercessor, and we'll put 1 on the other unwounded intercessor. 2 attacks on the wounded one, 1 hit.
3 plus save. He's still alive.
And the one on the unwounded one hit.
And he takes a wound. It's the Space Marine turn, so I'll do the assault intercessors first. 4 attacks from the assault intercessors, hitting on 3s, getting 2.
2 3 plus saves. Made both.
4 attacks from the lieutenant, hitting on 2s, getting 3.
3 3 plus saves. Oh, there we go.
There we go. So finally the remaining destroyer goes down, and that'll be a Space Marine victory. So that'll mean the Space Marines will win the best of 3. So we'll recap those games for you now. So that was the game for issue 4 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that went?
It was difficult to get the Plasmacyte actually off the board, because if there was just one unengaged assault intercessor, they could charge it, and it was not really that difficult to kill the Plasmacyte with 1 wound and a 4 plus save. And obviously I didn't want to charge it into combat because its melee potential is quite limited, and that would just mean you would get to hit it.
Yeah, I mean, you could potentially get extra movement by charging and then falling back in the next turn, but probably not as much if you just advance twice. And I can choose to attack it if you do that, so yeah.
I think I didn't always roll too well for my attacks, actually, I think.
Yeah, there were a few times where you only got 1 hit as well.
Yeah,
or
and
I got lucky with my saves.
Yeah.
I think I was fairly lucky to actually come out on top of that best of 3. If you had made that charge in the second game, if you hadn't rolled a 2 and engaged all those Marines, if the rest of the game had gone the same way, I think you would have won. I think the Plasmacyte would have gone off the board.
And the destroyers having 3 attacks, in theory, on 1-on-1, they should beat an assault intercessor because they just have more attacks and more wounds. But I had a couple of destroyers who, particularly the one down closest to the screen in the second and third games, just could not kill his one adversary.
Yeah, it was a big ineffectual fight down there.
And I think in the first game it went well for me, really, just because you failed those charges, and then I was able to. But when you were able to gang up on one of them particularly in the second game, you just killed it.
Yeah, ganging up's definitely the way to go for the Marines.
We also didn't do a game where we let the Necrons go first. I don't know how that would go. It probably result in the Marines being pinned back on their board edge. Probably would have tried to gang up on a single Marine with 2 destroyers and kill him. Basically trying to pin the Space Marines back and just bring the Plasmacyte up and keep them engaged.
Yeah, you probably concentrate on the assault intercessor that starts on point B at the bottom of the board, and then open up that flank and then just hold up the rest of them.
Yeah, and unless you sent a Marine hunting the Plasmacyte, but that would have meant he wouldn't be able to fight the destroyers, so...
Yeah, and I think the outcome of this game actually sells the destroyers quite poorly. I think once we learn about their full rules, and if we were to play this with the normal rules for destroyers and the Marines, they shouldn't have any difficulty at all with assault intercessors. And these destroyers actually are an extremely deadly melee unit against assault intercessors.
Yeah, I mean, later on we'll learn about armour penetration of weapons, and these swords and things should go straight through the armour of a Space Marine pretty much.
Some weapons do more than 1 damage at a time as well, so any weapon that does 2 damage is extremely dangerous against these Marines. And the Plasmacyte itself also has extra rules to go with them. It's more than just a mobile objective, essentially.
Yeah, we'll get those rules coming up. We're only on issue 4 still, so it's still quite basic. It's nice to have a larger battlefield again. We did say in the previous issue that fighting in melee combat on that tiny little...
Yeah, I mean, you actually have to roll for your charges here. You can't just walk to an inch away all the time.
Yeah, and it means there's a bit more tactical movement as well, who to engage.
And it's also worth noting that this mat is 30 inches by 22 inches, which is exactly the same size as a Kill Team board, and it's half the smallest recommended board size for a full game of 40k, so sure, eventually you'll get another one and then you'll have enough for a full-size game pretty quickly.
Yeah, and going by experience in Mortal Realms magazine, probably the other side with the moon-based section there'll be other boards that will match that, so they should all join up and create a larger board, so we're kind of expecting that to happen, we don't know.
And obviously you can see the printed terrain on the board, or got that to look forward to as well. It makes the battlefield much more interesting, just flat plains. But I do really like the Destroyer models. They're a bit of a pain to put together, but they do look really good. Certainly an alien-looking mechanical look, the triple leg.
Yeah, and they do give the impression of being berserk killing machines, which is
they sort of spin wildly and flail around with their extremely dangerous blades.
I quite like the little Plasmacyte as well. As we learned in its lore section, it does kind of injects the destroyers with stuff that makes them even more mad, and it's almost like a little parasite thing that sort of just follows them around and jabs them.
So it sort of goes around cleaning up all the nasty stuff from some of them and then dumping it in these poor destroyers.
Yeah.
This issue is actually pretty worth getting multiple copies as well, especially if you want these destroyers, because it's much cheaper than buying them separately.
I think they're about £32.50 or something on the Games Workshop store, whereas this is £9, so it's almost a quarter of the price.
If you want more of these destroyers, this is a really good way of getting more of them. Anyway, I don't think there's too much more to talk about, so if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe, and leave any comments. How do you think the magazine's going so far? If you've been playing along, tell us how you get on. Or if you've been collecting, how have you been finding it so far? We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.